The first and only graphic novel to win the Pulitzer Prize, Mouse is a brutally moving work of art about a Holocaust survivor and a son who survives him. Mouse tells the story of Vladek Spiegelman, a Jewish survivor of Hitler's Europe, and his son, a cartoonist coming to terms with his father's story. Approaching the unspeakable through the diminutive, the Nazis are cats, the Jews mice, Vladek's harrowing story of survival is woven into the author's account of his tortured relationship with his aging father. Against the backdrop of guilt brought by survival, they stage a normal life of small arguments and unhappy visits, studying the bloody paw prints of history and tracking its meanings for those who come next. Oh, hello there. Welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. Sorry for the fancy dress up. I didn't really think of anything that would really benefit the occasion. What is the occasion? Well, as my description reading has probably already given away, the occasion is a review of Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Before I get into the actual quality of this book, or its actual qualitative attributes, I want to discuss some of its content, which has caused it to be banned or restricted, which is basically the same thing, in certain areas of the country that calls itself the Land of the Free. There are a few reasons cited for that. The first of which, the depiction of a naked woman who had just committed suicide, does indeed come up throughout the story. However, I will say it is not only not gratuitous, it is not even the most graphic thing about this book. It is not the most harrowing depiction of what can be done to a quasi-human naked form. So any outrage that spawned from that is somewhat disproportionate, given how many other things are shown in this book. And I literally mean shown because this is a graphic novel. It's literally illustrated, not just described. The effect that creates is a lot more potent and meaningful than the depiction of the suicide. That being said, a lot of these other images that are somewhat stronger than that, including many instances of both nudity and violence, have also been cited as reasons why this book has been banned. And to that I say, those items, those images, are necessary in order for the book to convey its message. So if you want a book that discusses a certain topic to not mention any of the consequences that result from the topic or any of the methods through which the topic is employed, you're either willfully ignorant, cognitively impaired, or you're directly interested in making sure that topic does not get discussed, even though it touches upon some very dark portions and subject matter. Touching upon that subject matter is necessary in order for the story to convey its message. It is therefore meaningful, and any attempts to ban it really just proves that it has to be spoken of all the more. You could say that whoever does this wants to protect children, but to that I say, what are you protecting those children from? Reality? That's censorship by definition. So yeah, that's some authoritarian zeal in the Land of the Free. What can I say? Anyway, yeah, that's all I say about the. That's all I will say for now about the content of the book. You might not agree with it. You might not like it, but it is necessary, and it is employed in ways that make sense. What can I say about the quality of the book? Well, I will say that it is an autobiography, not the first one I've talked about this month, but it comes with a twist, namely a framing device. The actual historical account, which is arguably somewhat fictionalized, is told to the author and illustrator, Art, by his father, Vladek, a Holocaust survivor. And discussion between the two forms and builds the framing device of this story. And each chapter pretty much begins and ends within this narrative device. At times, the framing device also interrupts the story itself, but I'm actually okay with that for two reasons. Number one, it builds the impression that we are witnessing an intimate moment and demonstration of love and respect between two people who care about each other very much. And the second reason is it leads to some very informative asides, both towards that can be humorous, sad, or at times annoying. The author is very good at integrating these asides in the overall narrative. He's not particularly careful about what events he chooses to talk about per se, but he does. But he is very deliberate in how he tries to represent his father as he really was, and what really characterized him. That does have the unfortunate side effect of making the main voice and perspective we're supposed to follow and sympathize with somewhat less approachable, especially to a more modern audience. But then again, I'm overall fine with that, because it's not the fault of either the author or the book that person has rough edges. In fact, in some sense, I'm actually glad that he chose to display his father with those rough edges, and glad he respects him enough to really showcase him as he was, because that shows two things. One, having rough edges doesn't mean you have no other qualities. Two, it doesn't mean that his tormentors were right in tormenting him. I wish more people realized that. Anyway, political discussions aside, or as aside as I can put them in a discussion like this, one thing that really stands out about this book and what it presents exceptionally well is the anxiety and isolation the Jewish community in Europe in particular, has faced in the prelude to, as well as during, the Second World War. The author does not shy away from displaying the discrimination, the threats, the violence, and the exclusion that these people have faced, and And he is very committed to showcasing that that struggle for survival, and all of the insidious menace that the characters or the people are forced to contend with. He shows how they were stripped of their livelihoods, how they were forced to hide, lie, cheat, in order to just survive. They were very deliberate about and how they also had to constantly outmaneuver a very large, very violent, very oppressive military and law enforcement apparatus, and was also things like that. It was also very deliberate in showing what failure to outmaneuver this apparatus means, and perhaps the most heartbreaking thing of all, how all successes are temporary, given their opponents, their enemies, can constantly shift the combat framework, and bring in a new challenge at virtually any point. And that is a very important account to have on your mind. And that becomes all the more apparent once we get into the scenes in the concentration camps, and we witness all the forced labor that goes on there, as well as the institutionalized neglect and exploitation. That is particularly striking. That becomes all the more striking when you consider it in the context, especially so if you are not already familiar with some of that, topic already. And that strain to portray this story correctly also comes over Art himself. And I have to say, I'm very glad that he chose to include a depiction of himself as he tries to work around this this particular this particular struggle that he himself faces once he realizes the responsibility he has taken on when he chose to depict this story, and what the associated consequences thereof would actually be. It is that shadow that really stuck out to me when when I read this book. This generational trauma that got carried over because of the delusions of purity some people try to bring to life, and the impact those delusions have on not just the direct victims, but also many people who are connected to them. That was a particularly meaningful image, moment, and message as a whole. Something that should be communicated perhaps better than I've been able to. Overall, while I have some issues with the way the book presents its message, the actual importance of the narrative can really not be overstated. And this book stands out to me as a very good display of the horrors people can inflict upon each other, as well as the consequences thereof, both in the short term and the long run. My final rating for Mouse is a 5 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add to what it is I just said in this video, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. Ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My own book, Heir to the Empire: The Next Generation, is available at most major retailers under a master link in the description below, right past my social media, which I also suggest you check out. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.